Welcome to the northeast of England, to Tyneside and to the Bupa Great North Run. This is the flagship event of the Great Run series. 56,000 are entered, more than 40 countries represented. This event, without doubt, part of the cultural fabric of the northeast. First up, the elite wheelchair race featuring David Weir of Great Britain and defending champion Josh Cassidy of Canada. Your commentator, Tim Hutchings.
Away they go then. Relatively small but very high caliber field of men and women in this wheelchair race. And straight away, Cassidy, the defending champion, moves to the front there to the right of picture in the red and white top, although somewhat inconveniently, right behind him, David Weir is also wearing a red and white top. Because what the difference? Cassidy in the vest, Weir in the t-shirt.
Well, the talent in the women's field, well, look at that. Tironish Dibaba, Meseret Defar, Priska Jeptu, just to mention the top three. And incidentally, it's the first time that Defar and Dibaba have competed against each other over the half-marathon distance. And looking back at Defar, it's interesting that she won a half-marathon in New Orleans early on in the year when she ran just outside 67 minutes. Dibaba's time last year was 67.35. There's about 10 seconds between them. Now, the young lady at the front is Charlene Thomas. She's from the Wakefield Harriers Club in Great Britain, and her job is pacemaking. And they put a pacemaker in. They want 5 minutes per mile for the first 2 miles, and I have to say that Tironish Dibaba really wants 31 minutes for the first 10k, so she's definitely serious about this race, and we shall see how she will go on. What a good contest it is between the two in particular, Dibaba and Defar, who are at the top of their game in two different areas really, 5,000 and 10,000, but coming together over a half marathon is very, very intriguing indeed. The course itself starts just outside the city of Newcastle and moves down Central Motorway 2 miles beyond the Tyne Bridge, and then to the Whitemare Pool into South Tyneside as they turn up at 6 miles, and then there's South Tyneside 9 miles and approaching Whiteleys, and then the Centenary Avenue, turning left that last 2 miles down towards the finish in South Shields. It's a very challenging course. There's the men's start, and what a start line it is.
Yes, without any doubt, Stuart. That represents perhaps the greatest clash ever over the half-marathon distance. Mo Farah, an Olympic champion in London, of course, at 5 and 10,000. Haile Gebrselassie, a 3-time Olympic champion. And Kenenisa Bekele himself, 3 times Olympic champion.
Christina Horrigu firing the gun to get them underway, along with Graham Swan, cricketer, of course, in the United Kingdom, the England squad. And there's Christine, world champion over 400 metres by 4 1,000ths of a second.
Graham Swan, of course, an English cricketing legend. And I can tell you that when they've been there for about 20 minutes, half an hour, high-fiving with people running past, their hands get very, very sore indeed. It's a stress injury, I think you can call it.
Look at this. David Weir now has broken away from the rest of the field.
Well, he's worked hard on that uphill. That's where he's broken away, David Weir. And that's a very significant lead he's built up since we last saw him. In what, 5 or 6 minutes, he's opened up 60 or 70 metres on the chasing pack, David Weir. And this looks like a very, very impressive lead early on. Haile, by far the most experienced of these men, and it looks to me like he's quite keen to make this healthy from the off. But we know he's not the runner he used to be, Haile. Those legs are 40 years old at least. There's still a lot of speculation about his genuine age, but I think he knows that he hasn't got the speed, the sprint speed of the other two, and he wants to make this an honest half marathon from the word go.
Well, meanwhile, the big three on the course, and Tironish Dibaba, the defending champion, leading Meseret Defar, 6 miles gone, 31.24 or thereabouts, so they are inside 67-minute pace at the moment, which is very good. There was between 66 and 67, and that's pretty quick. It really is.
Yeah, they're on schedule to probably run around 66.5 minutes, Stuart, and they've got the highest point of the course behind them. I think they've got the worst of the uphills behind them, and they are really, look at the way Dibaba has lengthened her stride there. She's got a lovely, languid, up on her toes style. Such a contrast to Jeptu, who in third place there has admitted that she has got an awful running style. She says, I know I look awful when I run, but she says I'm comfortable running that way and I'm not going to change it. Weir, couple hundred metres to go. He's pushed superbly. Tore the field apart on that uphill, as we saw. David Weir is coming home, Stuart, to a very, very quick time indeed. Crossing the line there in what, 43.01, and able to relax through the finish line. He has blown away the opposition. No sprint finish today from the men's wheelchair racers. Weir has outclassed them completely.
Look at this, 9 miles gone, and Jeptu is really asking the questions, and Defar is really having to work so hard to stay in contact. And remember, you've got the marathon specialist, the experienced road runner, the London Marathon winner, the Olympic silver medalist, leading two exponents of the track, two great exponents of the track.
But isn't this interesting? Look at this, Defar actually trying to use this opportunity. She's clocked the fact that she's got about a 10-metre lead on Dibaba, and even though it's on a downhill stretch, she has gone alongside Jeptu there and is in effect saying, come on, let's work together, we can break her here, let's do this, let's reduce it to 2. Jeptu accelerates against you. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. And Dibaba, well, I just wonder whether Defar may well suffer a little bit because of what she's done here, and whether Dibaba can get back. But there's a definite gap now, and we're down, and Jeptu is really putting the pedal down. A 5:09 ninth mile there. I tell you what, this is a very interesting race indeed, and Dibaba, who's trained quite hard for this, finds herself down on Meseret Defar on this occasion, and Defar really now finding it tough to stay with Jeptu. 15 kilometres there, 47.29 or roughly, for the 15k mark. But this is Jeptu, the marathon woman. She is the ungainly runner, but she is really pushing it. And the rest, well, they are beginning to struggle. The men still all there.
Haile just chugging along in that lovely bouncy style of his. It hasn't changed much over the years. He's a beautiful mover. If you want to see one of the greatest distance races in history, just go onto the internet and search for the Olympic 10,000 metres in Sydney. Haile Gebrselassie against Paul Tergat, considered by many as the greatest distance race on the track in history. Haile came out on top. That was one of his 2 Olympic titles. But while he might not have that speed anymore, he still has that same lovely style.
Well, the break is significant, and we said that if she was going to beat Defar and Dibaba, then she would have to put the pedal down early and move it away because of their fast finishes. And you can see Defar has now lost contact completely. A little look from the Kenyan. It's Kenya over Ethiopia at the moment. Still not finished, but Jeptu really does look very, very strong indeed. And the Red Arrows once again approach over the Tyne Bridge. The wonderful Red Arrows. And there they go. I've played golf with them, and they're better flyers than golfers.
I bet they still beat you. What a sight that is. They're based in Cyprus for the winter months, and don't venture up into the northern part of Europe until April apparently, or April or May, when they start letting themselves be hired out for displays like this. It's still a thrill though, Stu. You probably watched them as a kid.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I certainly did, I know that.
Yep. Yeah, they've been around a long time now. Of course, the pilots do change from time to time. Now then, Shelley Woods coming in to take her place.
Coming home for, again, what looked like a very comfortable coasting victory in the women's wheelchair race. Congratulations to her. That's her 5th title, I think, in the Great North Run.
Of course, when you look at the experience of the 3, then Haile Gebrselassie is the man who's been there and been there before, knows the distance, knows how fast he's going and what he's capable of. When you've run just inside 2 hours 4 and broken the world record in the marathon, you know what road running's all about over that longer distance. And Mo Farah's a learner. He's a learner, but he does learn quick.
Well, but talk of learning, it's Beckley who's had to be learning, and he's learning right now, Stuart, because if you haven't come into a half marathon before, never mind about a marathon, then your preparation to an extent is guesswork. There's an element of the unknown in your preparation and how you should ease off and come into a race like this beforehand. And it may be that, you know, he's finding out he's overcooked things a bit here, Beckley. We know he's been training very hard back in Ethiopia, where he's built his own hotel alongside his very own running track. So he's got a lot of other interests away from the track to keep him busy. But he's been training so hard for a long time for this half marathon, and it's possible he's overcooked it, and it'll be a huge learning experience for him if he has, because I'm surprised they've gone through 10 kilometres in 28:58, and he already looks in a bit of trouble.